Some people take the straight path in life. But at Arizona State University, we respect your twists and turns. They make our online students more driven to excel in their professional lives. That's why our personalized suite of services empowers you with innovative resources and staff that sticks with you. Make your next turn with one of our 300-plus programs at ASU, #1 in innovation for 9 consecutive years. Visit us at asuonline.asu.edu to learn more.
Super Bowl 58 is just 24 hours away, and the excitement is palpable in the entertainment capital of the world. In the last 24 hours, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been wowing fans in the T-Mobile Center promoting WrestleMania later this year. This morning, I've seen the offensive rookie of the year, CJ Stroud, in the building. Kirk Cousins is here. Lee Steinberg, the man on which the film Jerry Maguire was based, is doing the rounds. So too, agent Drew Rosenhaus, who looks after many of the players in the NFL. Anyone who is anyone is currently in Las Vegas, Nevada, all getting set for Super Bowl 58.
Graves on Gridiron with Richard Graves.
Yes, welcome along to the show. This is Graves on Gridiron. I am your host, Richard Graves, and the big game is almost upon us. After a full week of build-up, after a full week of discussion, argument and counter-argument about the pros and cons of both these teams, we're almost there. We're nearly at the point where we will find out who will prevail when the San Francisco 49ers take on the Kansas City Chiefs at Allegiant Stadium here in Las Vegas, Nevada on Sunday afternoon in America, Sunday night with an 11:25 p.m. kickoff UK time. But there's big news coming out of Las Vegas as well in the last 24 hours concerning future international games. The NFL this week have confirmed that from 2025, you can add Spain to the list of countries staging regular season NFL games, because they will be playing a regular season game in the 2025 season at the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium in Madrid, the home of Real Madrid. Former Real Madrid legend Emilio Butragueño has been in Las Vegas this week and promoting that announcement. It's fair to say there's plenty of excitement in the Spanish capital at the prospect of hosting an NFL regular season game. So much to talk about on today's show as we look ahead to the Super Bowl itself. In a few moments' time, we'll be joined by one of the defensive coaches from the Las Vegas Raiders, a well-known name to the UK audience, that of Rob Ryan. He'll be talking defense, all things both Raiders and Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl is where the Las Vegas Raiders want to be, and the fact that it's their stadium hosting it this year does leave a tiny little bit of taste in the mouth, because it's where they want to be and it's not where they are right now. So we'll catch up with Rob Ryan shortly. But first of all, to talk about that announcement regarding the Spanish capital and future NFL games, as well as looking at these two offensive units of both the Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers, former NFL quarterback Chris SIMMS. I'm delighted to say Chris SIMMS joins us, former NFL quarterback, co-host of Pro Football Talk. You've got your own online streaming outlets as well. Have I covered everything there? Have I missed anything?
Yeah, Chris SIMMS Unbuttoned, right? I got a pretty good following in the UK there.
Yes, you do.
I love it, yeah. My podcast is, all football, X's and O's. Not going to be a lot of, fun talk. We kind of dig into it, and I swear a lot, but we have fun doing it.
How have you found this week? Certainly the last 24 hours, business has picked up for me on Radio Row.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. It's getting to that time where you just know, like, hey, all the big ballers of America and everywhere else that are into the spectacle, the Super Bowl, are starting to fly in. The day here is not as crazy as it was maybe yesterday, a Friday compared to a Thursday. But, I mean, for me, not only is it's Mahomes and maybe the dynasty and the 49ers and one of the greatest organizations ever. It's all of that. I too am very close with Kyle Shanahan, so we went to college together. Got a lot of friends and family coming out this weekend, so it's a lot of excitement for me personally and just because of professionally.
Well, we're going to focus on the two offenses shortly, because we've got Rob Ryan on the show today as well, talking defense. Before we get to that, big breaking news coming out of Vegas this morning. The NFL's global expansion shows no signs of slowing down. 2025, they're going to play a regular season game in Spain at Real Madrid's Bernabeu Stadium. What's your instant reaction to that?
Wow. I just can't get over how it's growing, expanding, right? I mean, one, earlier this week, like I never thought we'd have an announcement going, hey, we're going to play a game in Brazil, right? That to me was
on
like,
kickoff
whoa,
weekend as well.
Right, like on a Friday. So I didn't expect any of that. But hey, as a football fan, I love it.
Yeah.
And I feel like, hey, with the world shrinking, social media, jets are getting faster, all of that. I live in an area just north of New York City where we have a lot of transient people from Europe. And I can feel that, the European culture is a little bit like, hey, this football is kind of cool. Like, I don't know all the rules yet, but it's kind of cool and I'm getting it. And it's just exciting to see that spread.
Well, here's the thing. I haven't heard the commissioner mention it this week, but certainly at his Super Bowl press conference 12 months ago and in the regular season prior to that, he did just throw out there this idea that maybe one day there could be a division based in Europe. And no one really seems to pick up on it. But you look at games being scheduled for London now, Germany, Spain comes online. The Pittsburgh Steelers have invested into the marketing rights of Ireland in the past few months. There's talk as well about the possibility of staging games in France.
Yeah.
Hey, is that really becoming a possibility?
I mean, I think it's definitely on the NFL's radar. I don't think there's any question about that they would one day ultimately like to have the goal of having a few teams that are, one or two in England, another team maybe in Germany, whatever, and a team would go over there and have to kind of play a Europe, instead of the West Coast trip, the Euro Coast trip, and go up that way and play those teams. Yeah, I think that's on the NFL's radar. There's a lot to do there, right? One, you're going to ask people to live in another country that are like, wait, I'm, from Texas, and I'm going to be living on Paris.
The weather's
now?
a bit different.
Weather, currency, right? The travel, the schedule, all that will definitely add some, juggling by the NFL policymakers that they'll have to figure out.
Well, that's all in the future. We don't know yet. What we do know is there will be games in 2025 in the UK, in Germany, and Spain. That is confirmed. Focusing on the job at hand, Super Bowl 58 this weekend. Right. I would say two elite offenses. Certainly the San Francisco 49ers have been red hot for the vast majority of the season until we got to the playoffs.
Right.
The Kansas City Chiefs uncharacteristically haven't, and yet come to the postseason. Patrick Mahomes, this team, managed to elevate their game. They get the job done. They're here again. What do you see?
Yeah, well, the Chiefs are incredible. I mean, they played kind of B-minus football the whole season. And then all of a sudden they were like, hey, it's New Year's, let's be a Super Bowl team. And they snapped their fingers and all of a sudden started to execute, stop doing dumb stuff that we saw them ruin football games, whatever, right? So that, you don't see that happen much, but they're special and they're capable of pulling it off. And it feels like, hey, they embraced who they are. They understand they're a defensive football team. They're not high-flying like they were a few years ago and throwing for 400 yards a game and doing all that. They're fine in being 20-17, 17-14. Mahomes will be efficient, pick his player to make a big play to help the team win. It's remarkable. They seem like they're peaking and, playing, like you said, as good as they've had the whole year. You said it right, too, about the 49ers. The 49ers, here's my big thing, Neil, is if both teams play their best football, the 49ers are better. They are. But we haven't seen the 49ers play their best football since mid-December, right? You just alluded to 2 playoff games. They were outplayed. I mean, really, Green Bay should have beat them. The Lions should have beat them, right? So I look at it and go, wait, can the 49ers regain, that November,
Can you flick a light
December?
switch?
Right. That's hard to do, right? I've only seen the special of the special do it, like we just talked about the Chiefs a little doing that all of a sudden. So because of that, I'm rooting for the 49ers because my buddy is Kyle Shanahan. But my X's and O's and football acumen tell me that, the Chiefs are going to win a close one right now because they're kind of playing their best ball, and the 49ers, it seems like, peaked too early.
Well, let's talk about that because we know what Patrick Mahomes brings to the table.
Right.
He's done it, been there, bought the T-shirt, reigning Super Bowl champion, reigning Super Bowl MVP.
Right.
Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant 2 years ago. It's unprecedented what he's done to this point.
Right.
In the 2 postseason games we've seen so far, though, he's been shaky to start with, and now he's going up against a team that has a number 2 ranked defense and is second best in the league when it comes to sacking the quarterback this season.
Right.
For Trent Williams, that offensive line, this will be the biggest game of their lives.
Definitely. It's a big game, not only because of the talent on Kansas City, it's the coaching they have. Steve Spagnuolo, their defensive coordinator, is without a doubt one of the most creative, best defensive coordinators in football. Brock Purdy's going to have a lot on his plate, right? I would think the 49ers don't come out too crazy aggressive because they're going to be a little bit like, hey, they're good, they do a lot of stuff, let's feel it out a little bit first. Instead of like, hey, let's come out aggressive, and all of a sudden you get, sacked and fumble or throw an interception, and you go, oh no, now we're down, and it's Mahomes.
They can't afford to go down in this game early, can they?
They cannot. I would agree with you there. The one thing I'll say with the silver lining of the last 2 weeks for the 49ers on your Brock Purdy point, if it is a close game, the fact that he brought them back in both games to win that, I do think the team will go, wait, we've been here, this guy can do this. And that'll allow them to keep fighting instead of right now. I think there is a feeling around the league like, oh, Mahomes has the ball late, we're going to lose. It's inevitable, right?
Do we expect a defensive game?
It's crazy. I do. I'm expecting it, but I don't feel confident in that. I don't. As talented as the offenses are, and, of course, the quarterback play high level.
CJ Stroud just walking past you there.
CJ Stroud, the man. And then I also think with, I do think I look at it as like there's no in between. It might be 20-17. It could be 38-35. I could see it going both ways there. So that's where it's hard to tell because, too, with the talent of these offenses, they start to get a feel, hey, wait, we've got 2 weeks of game plan. We got a few plays that they haven't seen. That's where I'm expecting defensive, but I would not be shocked if it got higher scoring than we expect.
Graves on Gridiron.
If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles and have an auto warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all, listen up. CarShield has a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that covers more parts than ever. Visit carshield.com/audio to find out how you could pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Get your free quote today at carshield.com/audio. That's carshield.com/audio.
Great to have Chris SIMMS on the show, and I tell you something, if it ends up being 38-35, whichever way it goes, we'll have been treated royally to a classic at Allegiant Stadium. But these are two top 10 ranked defenses, and I keep getting told by anybody that knows anything about this game that in fact it's defense that wins championships. Let's find out if that's the case. What would you expect to hear from a defensive-minded coach other than, of course it is. Here's my chat with Rob Ryan from the Las Vegas Raiders. Well, Rob, they say you can meet anybody on Super Bowl week on Radio Row, and there I was minding my own business, looked up, and I thought, I recognise that face. It's good to see you. How are you doing?
It's great seeing you. It's been a few years.
Has been a while. There's been a little pandemic in between, which disrupted things.
Yeah.
Changes of jobs as well.
Yeah, I think it might have been the Super Bowl the last time the Niners played the Chiefs.
Yeah,
or in Miami, yep. And I went deaf in that game and still never recovered in my right ear. It's never come back. So I got that as a lasting impression of that time. But great to see you.
Yeah, likewise. You're now working with the Raiders organization.
Right.
It's been a period of change over the last couple of months. Antonio Pierce now confirmed in situ as the permanent head coach. And from everybody I speak to around here that's involved with the organisation, it's unmistakable. There's an upbeat feel, positivity about it.
Oh yeah, he's great. I mean, coaching together with him on defense, and then when he was promoted to the head coach, an interim coach, he did a tremendous job, and our defense really responded. We were number one in the league, the entire league since he took over. So we got our identity from him, and he's a great man. He's himself. I love him. There's nobody like him. And look, he was a short, undersized linebacker. They had all those Hall of Famers around him with the Giants, but he was the captain. Yeah. This guy is a leader. He's a leader of men, and he's from Compton, the tough streets out there. You can't get any tougher than Antonio Pierce, and he gave our team an identity, and we're going to have that going forward.
And that's what Raider Nation has been crying out for years now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's a genuine article. So, you used to play games here in Vegas, and we never had a home field advantage. Well, that all changed when AP came. All of a sudden, fans are showing up. It's a home field advantage now, and we beat the teams in our conference the last 3 times we played and beat every one of them. So they know what they got to look forward to with us going forward.
And Raiders fans will love hearing that, because that hasn't necessarily been the attitude over the last few years. And you look at that AFC West going into next season now. Obviously, the Chargers have got Coach Harbaugh in charge. Sean Payton is hoping to turn things around in Denver. And you've got these Chiefs back in the Super Bowl. Again, it's going to be a heck of a division, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. And but, you got 3 great coaches. Well, we also got Antonio Pierce, who's a great coach. So 4 great head coaches, 4 great teams, and it's going to be a great division for sure, and we're looking forward to it. Our players are really excited about going forward under AP, and they worked their tails off to make it happen, and we're not going to let him down, that's for sure.
What can we expect from the Raiders in the off-season then, and looking ahead to 2024?
Well, I mean, Tom Telesco's our GM. I mean, he's one of the best in the business, and then getting AP, we had several new coaches come, so we have to get everybody up to speed on that, and we have a new offense coordinator, Luke Getsy, so a lot to look forward to in Raider Nation. And then, of course, you got the upcoming draft. We're going to add some good players, so we're excited about free agency, so it's a never-ending deal, you know that.
Absolutely. Okay, let's look ahead to Sunday's matchup then, because by general consensus, I don't think anybody can argue that 49ers have been the best team out of the NFC week in, week out this year. And yet the Chiefs, despite all their detractors, their critics, come the business end of the season, they find a way to get it done. How do you view this matchup?
Well, I think it's going to, right now that's the 2 great teams that are going at it with unbelievable offensive coaches. 2 of the best offensive coaches in football going at it. And they've got 2 really good defenses. Kansas City has been really well coached by Steve Spagnuolo.
Number 2
They've done a
overall
great job.
defense this year.
Right, and then San Francisco's always had a good defense. So it's going to be a heck of a game. It really is. And it's going to be cool to see the chess game that goes on between those offensive coaches against 2 of the better defensive coaches as well.
Talk to us a little bit about the Chiefs' defensive unit, because it strikes me that the moment that things turned in their favor towards the end of the season was the moment Patrick Mahomes came out and said, look, we've got the defense is the best unit on this team. If I don't turn the ball over, we will win games. And since then, that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what he says. And the thing is, he's so dangerous, Patrick Mahomes. And the last team to beat him was us with the Raiders. But we came in, we were a pretty highly motivated team that game. So
you got a couple of
didn't matter who was going to play that team. We were going to win that game. But he's outstanding, obviously. And Mahomes, like all leaders, is going to take the blame for all the losses and give the credit to his teammates when they win. But that's what a great leader does. But Patrick Mahomes, make no doubt about it, is the best offensive player in this league, and he'll be the best one on the field Sunday as well.
They start this game as, albeit narrow underdogs, they are underdogs. Patrick Mahomes, incredibly, in 6 years as a starter, he's only gone into 12 games with the Chiefs as underdogs. He has a 9-3 winning record in those games. Just phenomenal.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a great guy. They got great teammates too now. Mahomes, of all things, took a cap-friendly hit so he could keep some teammates. And but that's the type of leader he is, and he's a special player. There's no question. But it is amazing, because you can't overlook the fact that Andy Reid's a head coach as well. I mean, one of the best in the business that ever did it. So they're hard to beat for sure.
Look at it from a defensive perspective. If the 49ers are to overcome this number 2 ranked defense of the Chiefs, what must they do on Sunday?
Well, they got to run the ball, because that sets up all their play action. That's where Purdy's at his best. When you give him a chance to get a quick read, and he can throw. Remember, most of their yards are run after the catch, so it's a quick run and then quick play action. Get the ball out of his hands to these receivers that can make plays, and they're loaded with players. So that's what they got to do, in my opinion. They run the ball, nearly as good as anybody in the league. So I think they have to run the ball to be at their best. And they also got to start fast. You saw in Detroit, that didn't go well for them, and they were lucky to win that game. Detroit had a beat on San Francisco's defense, and they were in trouble.
Yeah.
But they came back at halftime. They took advantage of a couple little miscues by Detroit, and the game changed. But they're going to have to play better than that on Sunday if they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Equally, flip that equation. How do the Chiefs overcome the Niners' defense? What is one thing they must do on Sunday?
Well, I think they got to keep them off balance like they do, with the running game. I think Pacheco plays a big factor in this game. You can run the ball in San Francisco. There's no question about it. And they have to do that, and Andy will. But also, they need to do a better job of disguising their coverage. That was their problem last week. They didn't disguise well, and they were getting killed. So
and Mahomes is going to see that.
No, Mahomes is going to know, and so is Andy. So you have to disguise your coverage well if you're going to have a chance. Now, they have talent everywhere on that defense. So they're loaded with talent, loaded with players. So they match up well, one-on-one matchups against Kansas City's players. So biggest thing there is you got to try to figure out a way to stop Kelsey, and then take your chances with the other guys. But if you don't disguise your coverage, you're going to be in for a long day.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, just final question then, Rob. What does your gut tell you going into this game? Are we going to see the Chiefs create a little bit of history and go back-to-back? No team since the Patriots at the turn of the century has done that. Or do the 49ers finally end that 29-year drought and bring one back to the Bay Area?
Well, Kansas City's in my division, so there's no way I'm picking them. I'm going to take the Niners, and I hope Anthony Lynn gets that running game going. So when they get a lead, to remind Shanahan to run the ball to win the Super Bowl. He's had a couple chances already, and it didn't go that way. So we'll see what happens this time around.
You're a wise man, Rob Ryan. Look, great seeing you.
Great seeing you.
Fantastic to have you on the show. All the best for the future, and we'll certainly stay in touch and watch with interest.
All right, my friend. Good luck with the new endeavor.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Graves on Gridiron.
Well, there you go. Two people who've been immersed in football their entire lives. My thanks go to Rob Ryan for joining the show, and Chris SIMMS before him. The excitement amongst them, it needs to be seen to be believed. Even the most ardent American football fan that's lived, breathed, eats the game, come this time of the year, Super Bowl week, when you're so close to the game itself, even they feel that pinch of excitement, that sense of anticipation that only comes with what is one of the greatest shows on earth. It's the event, of course, that brings America to a halt. It's almost like a national holiday. Remember, 500,000 people are expected to descend on Las Vegas this weekend. Allegiant Stadium only holds 65,000 fans. One team and their fans are going to go home deliriously happy. One team will be disappointed. Who will it be? Well, in a little over 24 hours' time, we're going to find out. Before then, though, we'll have a special preview show. Jeff Reinbold will be joining me first thing tomorrow morning. So as soon as you get up, download that game preview podcast with myself and Jeff Reinbold, looking ahead to the Chiefs 49ers. The odds makers here in Vegas have the Niners narrow favourites, but Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs know how to win the big game. Will they be able to do it tomorrow? I guess we're going to find out in a short while. But for now, so long, everybody.
Subscribe to Graves on Gridiron wherever you listen to podcasts.
And keep up to date with the latest on Twitter. Search for Richard Graves 1.
That's Richard Graves, the number 1.
Sports Social Podcast Network.